So guys, this is what we're going to be doing today. This is our lesson today. We're going to be drawing a turtle. You can see this trendy little guy here in all his glory. Okay, we'll be starting with our pencil drawing first. Then we're just going to use, I've got some really nice color pencils I've been using. Okay, and then the black outline is going to be done with a fine outline pen, black outline pen. And the blue background, of course, is the pastel. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Okay, the equipment you're going to need, of course, if you've got a pastel at home, great. I'm just using a bit of blue, and with my stencil knife or a pair of scissors will do. Using our old technique, you know, the old technique that I showed you before. This will be eventually for our background. Remember where you flick the, and then you add the background in. Okay, that'll be the very final step. So you'll need one of those. You'll of course need colored pencils. Okay, you will need a thin black pen. Okay, I'll use a 0.8, and you will need a soft pencil and a HB basic pencil. Don't go too, a hard pencil. Don't go too soft on the pencil because it'll smudge too much on your work. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Guys, we're going to be looking at this, drawing and coloring a turtle. Cool. I'll start to put a nice line around the outside, like so. Okay. Onto a kind of a point there at the bottom. Okay, so get the nice line happening all the way around. Doesn't matter if you don't get it first go. Take your time. If you want to sort of do it like this by sketching it, you can. Okay. Remember to move your paper around so that you can make it easier for yourself. Okay, so move your paper around if you have to. Okay, so let's get that shape out of the way first, which of course is his big shell at the back, which will look like that, okay? That's his big shell at the back. I'm hoping everyone can see that. Okay, so that's his big shell on his back there. Okay, take your time. I don't care how long it takes to get you there. Just take your time with it, guys. Okay, there we go. Now, once we've done that, we're going to do his head. Okay, guys, now that we've drawn our shell, okay, we've got our shell there, there's other parts we're going to draw. So what we're basically doing here, imagine like you're building a house and you have to do the frame first. We're actually doing the main structure first, and then from there, we're going to construct all our innards of there. We're going to end up doing this kind of thing. You see the already started colored one. So in order to get those patterns and shapes, okay, what we need to do, of course, is we need to establish, you see around here, we need to draw a circle around this section so we can get them nice and straight. We also need to draw a circle in here so that we can get these little pieces nice and straight. Also another oval, I should say, in here. Very important because we want that shape, and another oval in there even, okay? Of course, we're going to draw our head as well, our feet, like we did before, okay? But this is important to get these circles right. So once again, you would have to lightly, very lightly draw in your circle. Come in about, oh, I don't know, what would that be? 5 millimeters on your ruler, and just try and get a nice, even kind of circle going on there, like so. Try and keep it as good as possible. Like I said, it does not have to be perfect. You know, you can see it's a bit thicker here than it is here, for example. I wouldn't worry about that too much at all. Remember, it's only got to be light because it's big setup for the main drawing later on. And once again, we've got to do our oval inside of that. So I would start with my very center one. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be in the very, very center this way. But it does have to be reasonably in the center this way. So what I often suggest people do is to draw a line up the middle of the drawing there. What we actually do is we're able to find our center, like so. So draw a line up the center, just light, doesn't have to be too heavy, just a light kind of a line there, right? So that you can see which side of your oval. So you try and keep them even. Okay, so you might draw one side like so. And then you draw your other side like so. Just continue on with that. Okay, cover that one like that. Okay. So there's one. Okay, there's your very inside one. Now you need one outside that again. So once again, I will come out probably about 8 mil this time. You know, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but try and get a nice even kind of flow going on there. Okay, see that? And the same with this here. We want to get a nice even kind of a flow around the outside. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. Just something like that. And that is as even as possible. Just do the best you can with that. Okay. Now remember, our trusty rubber is going to be doing a lot of work. Like I said, as you can see, I've had to draw several lines to get the lines I want. You know, it hasn't been perfect the first time. You can see me running up the sides there. So there we have our main structure for our shell. All right, there's a main structure for our shell there. Shell around, cut one around the outside there. Away you go from there. Nice and so there we go. From that we can build this, all these sections in here. Okay, which I'm going to show you how to do. Okay, so we'll start with the head, of course. Don't worry about your lines too much until you get that head right. Okay. Okay, there we go. And then we'll show you how the rest is done. Okay, now that that section's done, we're looking at the shell now, guys. Okay, looking at the shell. We're going to start with this top one. Okay, we've done our head. All right, so we'll do that a little bit more so we can get a bit of a heads up on that. So with our head, I wouldn't go too detailed yet. Just get the basic shape of the head like so. Okay. Now what I like to do really is from that corner there is just draw a line into there like that. Now you can use if you want. I'll bring it down a bit closer for you guys so you can see what's going on. If you want, you can use a ruler for those lines. Okay. I like to do them by hand because I like to make it look as natural as possible without looking like a grid drawing. So if you want to use a ruler, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So basically that'll be your first one, right? And remember how we did those lines down there? That was our guide with this guy here, see? And then when you're sure about what you've done, you can probably get a little bit heavier. But, okay, so what we need to do now is if we have a look at this one here, once again, you can see how this sort of goes inward. It starts out on the point and goes inward. So we've got to try and kind of imitate that, just very lightly, like so. Do that like that, and then build your other one, say in here like that. Okay, and then when you do your other one, you can sort of do the same sort of thing. So here we have. Let's get this one finished here first. Okay, so let's get that one. Once again, we're using that line we drew earlier. We're using that line we drew earlier again to do the outside. Okay, and like I said, if you want to use a ruler on those inside ones, you can. Now, these will all come out differently, but it doesn't matter, really. Mine's not going to be perfect, I can tell you that now. I could do it perfect if I wanted to make a graphic drawing, but I don't want to make a graph drawing. I want to make it look a little bit arty, a little bit natural, a little bit, you know, sometimes the imperfections is what makes an artwork look unique and look really, really different. You know, so I'm going to just cover those in like so. Okay? So we're going pretty good. We can see up the top here how we've got even section here and here. That's great because we can use that as a guide, right? You know, in fact, I will probably do my bottom one now because we're going to go once again on this bottom one. We're going to go even each side again, like we did up the top. So let's get that down a little bit higher, further down for you again there. Okay, and so I'm thinking, you know, maybe something as wide as that. Duplicate a little bit on the other side. Try and do it by eye. You can use a ruler to measure, but I wouldn't worry about that. And just draw in your lines like so. Finish off your the bottom of your shell. Once again, following that earlier line we drew. Remember that nice light one we did earlier? Bang. Which only leaves us one. So we go back there a little bit like that on that side. We've got to do the same here on this side. just like that. Gives us an idea of where we're going with it all, right? Draw it in, once again following our line, okay, like so. Following our line once again. This is his little turtle shell at the top. So if we've got one side done, then we've got a bit of a guide for the other side, don't we? Gives us a bit of an idea of where we're going to go with the other side, right? That's the way I see it anyway. So let's have a look at this one. So we do sort of same thing here again. Look at that gap there, and you say, yeah, sort of put a little nick there so that I can see roughly it's the same, and the same off the top, and then just run your line through like that, right? You can see that there's only a small gap there, so basically duplicate that again, okay? Here's where it gets a little bit tricky, and if you really want to be careful that you don't get too far out of hand, if you run your ruler up the side like that, that will give you a bit of an idea where the other one ends, the other point ends, somewhere over there. Okay, so let's mark that one up. Okay, something like that. Draw that one in. Do all this light just in case we have a mess up. Okay, and once again, you can see there's quite a big gap here. So you want to duplicate that gap on the other side again. Okay, like so. So you can use your ruler again if you like, bring it down. There's your mark. There's your mark for that end. There's your mark for that end, right? So you can see where you've got to go to and where you've got to go from, okay? And there's your mark for that end as well, all right? So there's your marks. If that's your marks, you just need a mark here, come to here, okay? And then you've got your middle one, okay? Just like that. That's simple. Okay. Now you want to do your bottom one as well. So if you want to keep going down with your mark situation, make sure your ruler's straight, of course. Put your mark there. And then, of course, we've got our mark up here. So that one will go to there. You've got to have a bit of space between that one. So that one will go to there. Now, like I said, they're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. Okay. So now that we're satisfied that we're happy with our structure there, we follow those guidelines again that we drew earlier. Okay, guys, we follow those same guidelines that we created earlier, and we draw our shell in like so. Okay, there we go. And the same here. We do the same here. Okay, draw your shell in. Okay, there we go. And like I said, that's not perfect, but it's pretty good, I think. Well, you may not think so, but I do. I think it's looking pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but who needs perfect? Okay, look at that. All right, now, we've still got our lines in here. We've got to remember what we're doing with these now. So what we've got is another shell inside there again, as we can see. And then we've got another nice little pattern on the inside there again. So we're going to draw these shapes now, following the guidelines that we had before. You see these guidelines we put in before? So let's sort of do it like, you remember those Pac-Man, little ghosts out of Pac-Man? That's what I like to imagine I'm doing here. So try and make them roughly the same. Like I said, they don't have to be perfect. Just a little squiggly in there like that. You can see that's definitely not perfect. And then, you know, you might want to just copy that little guide there like a roadway, make it sort of follow the same pattern that way, and you have got your middle section, as you can see there, right? And then, of course, you've got to draw that in there following that guideline we had before. Okay. And there you have your very inner shell. Okay, your very inner shell. Don't forget to draw in your little outside one, because that's another little section within itself. All right? Draw him in like so. And that is how you would do your structure for your shell. Probably the most structured part of the whole thing. All right? Once you've done that, you can go up now and finish off the top of your head, bringing him in even on both sides. Now remember the guideline from the, remember we've got our shell around here. This is our very outside shell. So we'll put him in heavier again so you can know that this is the actual outside of our drawing. All right, I'd like to come to a little bit of a point down the bottom there. All right, let's bring him up here again. Okay, beautiful. Now with our head, of course, we want a bit of a separation between, the bottom of his head and the shell itself. See how it's got it there on the drawing? That's what we want to achieve. Very simple. Once again, we follow the same guideline as we did before. We just run a line about 5mm away, just like that. Okay. Now the same with his flippers. Okay. Just draw a nice shape like that. Just get a nice little curvy shape going. Do one on the other side. Just light first till you get it nice, till you're happy with it. And, do the same thing here for our separation. Remember our separation, that's really important. Now, if that's sort of bugging you, having that extra tail in there, you can get rid of that with your rubber. So you've got that nice suspended sort of situation going on. Okay. And, of course, draw this guy like so. Okay. Beautiful. Do the same on the other side. Once again, look at your spacing. Look at your space between your two situations here. You want to, say that's about there. You want to start there. You can use your ruler if you want. If you really want to be sure of it. Okay. Making sure your ruler is nice and straight. There's our end part. Okay. And then just draw in your other side. Same sort of system. Just very light at first, just to make sure everything's as you want it. Okay. Like so. Draw that little separation or the divider, whatever you want to call that section there. The suspended area there, where it's not connected to the shell. Then you can come in a bit heavier. Like so. Now, you won't get this great, perfect the first time, but that's what drawing is all about, guys. It's all about practice. Okay? You've really got to practice, okay? And continue to do things over and over to get them right. So if you're drawing turtles, don't just forget about turtles forever and go on because you couldn't draw them really well. Keep coming back until you get what you want, okay? So we're going to do the same sort of thing with our bottom legs. We're going to sort of probably, you see how I'm right on this edge of the bottom shell here? I'm going to start from there as a guide, and I'm just going to run it back there and maybe run it from the top part of that shell just as a place of reference, right? So I know where to go with my leg, right? I'll do the same on the other side, actually. But I like to flip it around so that I can see what I'm doing, right? Bottom of this one, flick it out. Top of this one, flick it out. Just flick away there. Get your leg going, right? And once again, your separation section. Once again, your separation section. Rub out the excess stuff if you really want it, right? And then start drawing your heavier lines in there like so. Right? Let's get this guy started. Now, you don't have to do it like me, one big foul swoop. Take your time and do little flickies if you have to, just till you get it right. Now, I don't care if it takes 4 or 5 lines, you will find the line you want eventually. Because remember, we can rub out what we don't need. So let's get this once again in the right direction. There we go. Here we go. And there we go. Okay. So as you can see, it's getting a little bit closer to what we want. Okay. As you can see by this one here, it's getting very close now. We're going to do a little patterns on the feet now, which are also just as easy to do. Okay. So let's look at this one here. Let's look at this one. Let's bring you down a bit closer. As close as we can, actually, because you're going to need to be really close. So with this one here, what we're trying to do is to achieve a pattern. Now you can use your own pattern. It's up to you, but to make it easy, I just sort of start by putting a circle and around about half a circle in the middle like that. Just a half a circle. See that? Once again, you can go light till you get it right. And then another half a circle over the top of that one again, right? That's what I do there. And then for interest, I'll put a little kind of hooky wave thing here like that. Right? I'll go around and then I'll come back out the other side. So a little hook. See, I'm getting that shape there now. A little hook section, okay? That light is actually quite bad on that. Okay? Little hook section there, you can see the hook. Right? It's a bit intricate, but it can be done. And then come back out like a wave on the beach. Right? Like so. That little wave thing. Once you've got it where you want it, you can come in a bit heavier with your pencil and put a couple of little things on this side. Okay? Right. Do that for all your feet. That's it. That's your first feet. First foot. Oh, no, sorry, flipper, I should say. So do all your flippers like that. Okay? So that they're all done. Okay? Your bottom one as well, same sort of situation. We'll do one more with the bottom for you so you can get an idea of what we're doing. Okay. At the bottom, I didn't put a circle, actually. I put a wave straight away, a little half wave thing, right? Like so. Just do a little hook, like a hook, a fishing hook type of deal. See that? And then go inside and then come out like that. Just a little hook like that, right? And then we can put nice little feet on him over here. Nice little, sorry, I call this the rainbow sunset. 3 lines over there. One for there and a little centerpiece for there. So that when you colour those guys in, you've got that little section there, right? We're going to do a little bit on the colouring later on. Okay, so we're going to do those for the whole 4. Okay. So this line down the middle has been very handy because it's helped us to keep things nice and straight. So up the top here, we're going to try and get that head looking a bit like that, okay? And you can see there, if that line was through the middle, that would be what you'd be looking at right there, right? So, that in mind, we're going to start probably here, do a little dip in like that. Same on the other side. Keep it reasonably much the same, doesn't have to be perfect, like I said. I'm going to go up into there like that, go down like that, okay? So a little line down there like that, like so, okay? Right, now that we've got that, we can do a little gadget coming out there like that. And one on the other side, just sort of looping out like that, coming out in a loop, okay? And then, of course, we've got to do his eye in there. So we do a little eye, right? And then another line around the outside of the eye again. Okay? A little eye and a line around the outside of the eye. Okay? Just like that. So that when we colour his head in, that's basically what we'll be looking at. Okay? There's another colour to go in there, of course. Okay, there we go. That's how we're going to do that. Doing it. And then we're going to colour it. Finishing off the last leg now, guys, for my dark green colour.
And then
I like to run my pencil along the colour first. So I've got that nice edge sorted, okay, like so. And then I can colour it all in.
it was going to live.
Put it all in like that.
I was just so elated. At that point, I didn't know if he had any brain damage. I didn't know if.
Now you can see I've got all my colours in, as you can see now. And now I'm putting my black outline. Now, you see I've already done a bit of black outline around the little guy's head there, right? So I'm going to do the rest. So try and use a reasonably fine black pen, right? There's all different types. You go to like Officeworks itself, you can see stuff like that says 0.4. That's how thick it is. Okay, 0.6, that's 0.6, that's how thick that one is. 0.2, of course, 0.2 is really fine, right? Like really thin. Okay, you probably don't really need for this particular job. What you need is a much thicker one. Not much thicker, but I like to use a 0.8 for this one, right? Which is around about, you can see the tip of that there. So that's probably the ideal one to use. So, just be really careful this time with your line because you want this to be really nice. So you might want to go over it a few times if you want. I like to go over 2 or 3 times over a line and make sure it's. I could have possibly even gone a thicker black pen for this, but never mind. We'll just use this one. So you can see the difference once you get the nice black line on there. Sometimes I like to go a bit thick on the line like that. See, Gives a bit of character like I showed you before, like so. So put all your black lines in, get it all nice and trendy looking. Fill them in nice and thick. Try and keep a nice steady flow going. Like I said, make sure you're comfortable, especially with this, because unfortunately you cannot rub out texture, can you? Or black or pens. You can't run them out. You can't really rub them out. So try and do the nicest job you can. Like we've got a circle down the bottom, right? Do that nice and as best you can. And you can see I'm going to do the whole thing like that now, and then I'm going to give you a look at the end. Coming together nicely. Just nice outlines. Okay. Do all your black outlines. Okay, guys, like so. Doing the shells now. So there we go, guys. There's my turtle with all the colours and everything done now, the outlining. Okay, now you can do whatever you want with your colours. You can go light or dark, whatever you want. I'm just going to put a little bit of blue background on him now to make him look like he's in the ocean, which I'm going to use my little pastels for. So doing my backgrounds, of course. Getting your pastel, and then just getting the blade and just flicking the colour onto the board like so, little powdery flicks, and then getting your fingers, of course, and just blending it all in like so. Okay, get it nice and close to the edges if you can. Try not to get too close and ruin the job, but you see there now. I'm going to get the blue. I'm going to do that all the way around. Very effective little technique. Scraping it on there. Using your fingers. I like to use my fingers anyway. Just get a better finish. Okay. Come in close to the edge and just blend it all in like so. It'll all look good once it's done. It's hard to get started. Once you really start getting that blend going, it does really start to look very nice. Okay, so getting that blend in there, it's looking pretty good. You can see how the blue is really bringing the colour out in the green and everything else like that. It's a really nice effect. You really do need that background colour for that contrast, guys. So there we have it, guys, in its entirety. There we go. That's the finished product. Nice bit of blue around the outside. Nice looking shell. So good luck, guys. Be interesting to see what colours you come up with. Fantastic.